empty since the 50s, and no one's ever filmed here before. Lucky you. There was a tragedy here.
What happened?
Don't want to spoil the surprise.
I met a real medium today, a real 12th generation psychic.
I usually charge $2,500 for a full séance.
Why not hold a real séance for the actors?
You are a PA. Now go and make my call.
So first of all, congratulations on playing Max, the tenacious director of the film. Fantastic. I loved it to bits. It was very curious because I didn't know whether it was going to be a satire, if it was going to be a really kind of pure horror. It was a really, really good mix, which is always very, very difficult to balance.
Thank you. That's a real compliment because I think that's what we were aiming for as well.
Good.
So
yeah. And so the first thing I wanted to ask you about is this commanding director that you played, Max. Something that really interested me was that you had this kind of round table discussion towards the beginning of the film,
right?
Which it feels like a very sharp pastiche on kind of the on-set power dynamics. I'm quite curious how much of that was actually heightened satire and how much it was kind of drawn from real experiences.
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I knew I was supposed to be the wise guy and the interrupter. I mean, that was kind of and wouldn't let anybody finish the sentence. Like there are people we all probably know who are like that. And I'm in a position where they can't really shut me up because I'm the head of the studio or whatever my official title is. So and it was actually fun. We kind of improvised that whole thing.
Right.
And it was easy for me because I just kept interrupting everybody. I didn't have to worry about even what I was saying. As long as I was interrupting, it was all good. So it was very fun.
Brilliant. Also, it's great to see Bill Moseley. I mean, the whole cast is fantastic, but to see you, Bill Moseley, in the same film is for a horror fan, it's such a fantastic thing to see. I'm quite curious. I mean, Bill's character, he loves the character of is it the Groggy? You call him
the Grog. The Grog.
Yeah.
Who's quite a character.
So like what seeing you and Bill was almost like for me was like Bill getting to kind of spend time with the Grog. I'm quite curious because Bill's role is very much kind of a medium similar to you played in Insidious. I'm quite curious, even though his is more kind of I don't want to give anything away, but his is more of a kind of more heightened version of the kind of the classic medium. I'm curious if you compared notes a little bit to kind of to get that medium just right.
He really didn't. I mean, he had his own sort of researches that he did, and I kind of I'm a little bit lazy, I guess you may say, because I don't usually do too much research unless it's something really historical that where they're gonna kill you in the press if you get the date and you get the thing, and gratefully I've steered clear from that as much as I can because it's still for me always play acting. There's something about being able to the freedom of not having to adhere. You have to adhere to the dialogue certainly and the content. But so we kind of left it pretty open to our imaginations and to the relationship that developed. I love Bill. I mean, we've worked together on other movies too, and we get along really well. He's a wonderful person, a Jesuit who's smarter than he doesn't like me to tell people that. but yes, he's a very bright guy, a big reader, and knows a lot of information about a lot of things. And is as kind and sweet as can be. I really adore him and I love having the opportunity to work with him. So there was that.
It was, like I said, it's great to see you on the screen together. I'm quite curious. You said that you had you were quite free to kind of improvise a little bit. Like I said, it works really well because it's not easy to get a kind of satire and a horror that is frightening at times just right. So I'm quite curious how you managed to kind of gauge that to make sure that you didn't tip into farce or tip too far into horror so that the comedy didn't work, if you know what I mean.
That's a question. I think, it was just, sort of moment by moment, if things were working and it was sort of an improv or something, lines that were not there, we just kept going kind of thing. Sometimes we try it a couple different ways. We do a scene with a little more this or a little more that. But it's interesting, the content evolves. Because it's often not what you think it's going to be. And there's that fine line between trying to manipulate it into the place you want to be putting it and letting it really expand. And sometimes it'll show you things you never imagined. And I think this had a little bit of both, where we surprised ourselves some of the time with content, and at the same time, tried to tell the story as it was being told. So it sounds like we got a pretty good mix, I guess. So
I think you did, yeah. I mean, by extension as well, there's a kind of, maybe I was reading too much between the lines, I don't know, but I felt that also your character, even though she's at the beginning of the film, she says that she doesn't want to work with kids, she can't stand working with kids or animals. I don't want to give anything away, but there's kids involved in this story.
Right.
And I couldn't help getting the feeling that your character Max really kind of regrets not having had kids, or maybe not being able to get on with kids. Is that something that was surprised to find something so poignant all of a sudden in this very kind of tenacious director?
I think we pulled that out, and I made it clear both to myself and to the director that I think it was important for you to see why she's like she is. Often you just have a badass in a movie. Yeah. And it always frustrates me if there's not even a line or a moment where you understand something about why that person does what they do. Because none of us are, maybe there are people born mean. You coming out of the womb and they're ready to eat up something. But but generally speaking, I think we're created by our experiences. Given the equipment we're given at birth, it still has a way to grow and to expand by what happens to that person, around in lifetime. And I'm glad that read that way, because I want you to see that Max had problems too, and she didn't really. There was a softness to her, and that scene with the children. I was actually singing "Ring Around the Rosie." That was kind of my idea. I wanted Max to have a moment there, even with the little girl in the bed. That there was something else going on in her that had never really been resolved. So I'm happy we put that in. I think
we work beautifully. Just to finish off then, before I leave you, because they're giving me the wrap, I can't not talk about the physical performance involved here, which I can't even imagine how much your face must have ached from certain things that you have to do in the film. But at the same time, that's something that I think you needed you had to judge very carefully the balance that it didn't come off farcical as well. No?
Right. We had actually a cut that was too farcical. Even because I'll go pretty far. But I remember my manager and I, we saw a cut of it, and we just thought that it takes you out of the story.
Yeah, so it's almost like the scary movie spoof movies, right?
Right. So we did cut it back a little bit. We left a little bit of it in for kind of comedic reasons, but you do have to find that balance. You don't want to take your audience completely out of the film. You want to keep them in the film with lots of dimensions to what they're watching. So I'm glad it worked.
No, well, fantastic. A job well done by everybody. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, Lin. Appreciate it so much. And I wish you the best of success with the release, and hope to speak to you again sometime soon.
Just to say real quick, it's Friday, March the 13th. It's opening in the Atlas Distribution Company, and cinemas all over Los Angeles, New York, all the cinemas near you. Go watch it and be scared.
Everyone go and see it. Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Been really nice to speak to you. Take care. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye now.
5 willing participants.
I'm so scared.
Yeah! I'm not scared of you, demon! This is all craziness in our head! Go! Where are the children?
Remind me why all the cameras are up here again? The séance is on the ground floor.
You never know.
Oh my God.